Blessed be. Today is March 2nd, and it's International Rescue Cat Day. Observational holiday to bring awareness to the amount of homeless and, abandoned cats. We definitely have plenty in society, so it is a great resource to, bring some snuggly little love or vicious claws into your life. Jimmy here was a gift to me back in 2010, and I believe he is from Craigslist because, Craigslist was actually used back then. And just one of those, free kittens, and I had him since he's an itty bitty little kitty. So he is my rescue and one of my best friends. This week at work, I've been working again on cleaning up the customer template. And I got to speak today with my peer who will be starting the jobs. And I gave him just a quick update as to what my plan of attack was. I sent him a PDF of the title block the other day, and I did call outs on the PDF of how I was going to automate it, what was going to be a field, what was going to be annotative text and stuff like that. And so told him, I was like, I wanted to get him the sheets, a new template with all the sheets he has set up. But going through this file, the way it's existing, it's in such bad shape. And he told me that they used to outsource their CAD drafting to one of those companies that, just will pop out drawings for you. And the quality of their work is horrible. Oh my God, they should be embarrassed. I'm embarrassed for them. So the title block, the sheet size is set to 18 by 24. So in the end, that's the size PDF you get. But now the sheet size is set to like 18 by 24. But in paper space, when you take a measurement, it's over 3 feet wide. And it's set to extent, so it's forcing it to shrink down. And I'm like, you wouldn't be able to keep scale that way. Like, oh my. So I told my peer today, I was like, I'm going to fix that, new sheet set, and I'm going to rescale the title block to be an appropriately sized scale 111 to fit on an actual 18 by 24 sheet. But that means I'm going to recheck all the font sizes, things like that, because I did try to scale it down. And I was like, well, do I want to mess with that? But it was already getting messed with before, so would the customer notice? Do they care? They're not asking me to do this. In theory, it's supposed to look the same and just act better. I don't know, but I'm going to keep messing with it. My peer is super excited. He mentioned today, again, we were talking about like the file size. Oh, because I did a purge, and I did a purge of the apps. The list that got purged is so long, I can't scroll to the top of the list in the command line. I pull it up and I scroll, and it'll just stop scrolling because there's just so much there that got purged out. Whew. The other thing that I found with the title block, so it is at least in paper space. But when I found out the sizing was all messed up, I wanted to check the size of the scale. Did they scale it down? And I touch the title block and I look at the properties. And the scale is set to -1, -1, 1. I was like, okay, what happens when I move it to 111? And the whole thing just rotated and flipped itself upside down. Like, I mentioned that with my peer, and he thought it might have to do with like plotting to a plotter, and how to get it to orientate a certain way. Something. I don't know. The blocks in the legend, most of them are at a 111 scale. There were about 7 of them scaled up to 77, and one random block scaled to like 66. And I mean, it's like, I told my peer, I was like, I'm documenting all this stuff. And he laughs. He thinks it's hilarious. And I was like, because I was going to do that newsletter format where I have images and some text, here's what I found. And like, so I get to kind of showcase all these things that I'm finding. And for me, this is just a fun exercise to really study what I'm looking at and make sense of all these pieces and how they apply to one another. Then I'm going to show, the choices that I made to fix it. So again, bragging my skill set, things like that. And if that makes it public at some point with other, drafters, I'd love to find out, how maybe somebody else would have approached to get the kind of results I was looking for. So I like those kind of conversations. Kind of what I do with, that Tuesday meeting that I facilitate, that's a great place to talk with my fellow drafters about what I'm working on and get different ideas on how to execute, because it's AutoCAD. There's a lot of different ways to execute. But it's been fun going through this process. Oh, the other thing with the title block. Insertion point was, 100 feet from 0, 0? Who does that? A lot of blocks are not anywhere near 0, 0. Some of them are centered. But there's a bunch that aren't. Who does that? But yeah, that's the outside drafting company, and just that low quality. Because it's funny, because I've actually kind of thought about that kind of job, to be at that company and that kind of company, drafting for just drafters. But if that's what goes out into the world from a place like that, ew. So I'm going to stay put where I'm at, having fun at the moment. So we'll see as things again progress. Restructuring is going to happen, the acquisition, things like that. A couple more weeks, I'm assuming. I'm going to be probably reassigned to talk to new people to get my workload and stuff like that. Don't know what that means. Can't wait to find out, but trying to wait patiently till it happens. And document all the crazy things I'm finding in this crazy, crazy template. Whew. If you'd like to hear more entries into the CAD Witch's Grimoire, don't forget to hit subscribe. And until next time, merry meet, merry part, and merry meet again.